Okay, this is a continuation of the talk I was giving yesterday. We got cut short. Facebook works its magic. I don't know how that works, but I didn't get through everything. The topic is using timeout to control escalation during marital conflict. So this is a pickup from yesterday. We stopped abruptly, and here we go. Okay, so the idea is to call a timeout, and like in a basketball game, he goes over here. He goes over here, she goes over there, and you get away from each other. Very important that you do that because you don't want escalation to continue because of proximity. So the idea is to cool off again, just like in a basketball game, and after a few moments, you calm down, you get a cup of coffee, you go for a walk, whatever, and you come back and you resume your talk, and hopefully things go in a good direction. And the chances of them going in a good direction really go way about that time. Now, sounds pretty good, right? Makes sense, not hard to understand. Sometimes hard to do, but it does work. So what could go wrong? Well, there are a couple of things that can go wrong, and so let's cover those very quickly. In every relationship, married couples here, there seems to be two roles that people play. One is called the pursuer, and the other is the avoider. So how this timeout thing breaks down is this. Someone calls a timeout. Let's say the husband calls a timeout because things are escalating. And again, he needs no reason to call a timeout. He does not have to justify it. He calls a timeout, and she is supposed to immediately comply with it. Well, she says, hey, we're right in the middle of it. You're not walking away from me. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it now. And she follows him around, and she gets even angrier because now he's walking away and won't engage with her. How dare you do this? You never want to talk about this stuff, and I'm just furious at you. So instead of timing out, de-escalating, it unfortunately escalates the conflict. That's one way that this breaks down, and that's the most common way, that the pursuer just will not comply with a timeout. And they have all the reasons why they won't. But again, remember, in the game of basketball, both coaches, both teams sign off on the rules. The rules are the coach doesn't need a reason for a timeout. In marriage, it's exactly the same way. You don't need a reason, and you have to agree to this before the conflict starts, before you have escalation. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay, that's one way it breaks down. Now, the other way it breaks down, let's suppose that this is a pretty good scenario when the husband in this scenario calls a timeout and the wife isn't happy about it, but okay, she goes along with it. Now, whoever calls the timeout, and this is a little bit different from basketball, calls time in on a timely basis. Now, you can't call time in 3 months or 3 weeks or 3 days. That's not going to work, and it becomes very frustrating for the pursuer who wants to engage and talk about the trouble that they're having. While the avoider, hey, the things have cooled off. Let sleeping dogs lie. Forget it. We'll pick it up again sometime. When? I don't know. Sometime soon. Well, how soon is soon? I don't know. Sometime. Well, this doesn't work. So the avoider simply procrastinates, and nothing gets done. So the pursuer goes after the avoider runs away, and this is a very bad situation because it polarizes. Now, I'm going to tell you something that is very, very important. Now, if you can grasp and get what I'm going to say here, believe me, it's really going to help your handling of conflict a great deal. Both the pursuer and the avoider reinforce the very behavior they say they cannot stand on the part of their spouse. What do I mean by that? When the pursuer, in this example, the woman, the wife, goes after the husband, he can't stand it. He hates it when she escalates. He hates it when she gets on his face. But he promotes that by avoiding and by going into his cave and kind of, rolling the stone shut, so to speak, closing the door and just being unavailable. Well, he's teaching her to be aggressive because she otherwise can't get his attention. And she's frustrated because she cannot get his attention. The only way she gets his attention is by screaming and by yelling and escalating. And he reinforces that. Now, he doesn't mean to. He doesn't like it. In fact, he hates it. He nevertheless reinforces it. She reinforces his avoidant behavior by not agreeing to a timeout, by not agreeing to any kind of boundaries, rules around escalation. So she's after him, and no matter what he does, he just simply cannot get away from him. And she reinforces, so he just believes, he gets in the car, I'm done. He's gone for maybe a couple of days. And she hates it. She hates it because he won't engage, but she is not agreeing to play by any rules. It's a street fight. And this doesn't work. So this is one of the ways that couples who nevertheless probably love each other and probably want it to work, polarize. He does more and more avoiding. She does more and more pursuing. It doesn't work. It does not work. And in the long term, it's really, these dynamics are really, really destructive to the marital relationship. So use the timeout, agree to it before the escalation starts. Agree to it when you're having a nice time and there's nothing to discuss, nothing to decide. There's no pressure. You just agree. These are the rules we're going to have. We're going to handle conflict according to these rules. And you'll probably, if you can commit to doing this, you'll see it's going to be a very, very helpful sort of thing. How long should timeout be? That's a good question, and that is not clear. Sometimes timeout can be as short as 10 minutes. Sometimes timeout probably should be a day. If you're into something that's just really, really difficult, and if it's late at night, go to bed. Go to bed. Don't argue. Don't fight when you're tired and hungry and you got a big day the next day. You know, it's not going to be very productive. Wait until the next day. But that's negotiable. And if there's good intent on both parties, you'll probably be able to work out the specifics of how long that timeout should be. Okay, so that's how to control escalation when there's marital conflict. I hope this is helpful to you. Please like this or comment on it, share it if you think that's available. And if you think coming in for counseling would be helpful, we would sure be glad to work with you. You can go to our website, northcoastfamily.com. And until next time, this is Dr. Chuck. Remember, you don't have to journey alone. God bless.